Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to episode 5 of our double-sided table build. Today we'll be going over how to build a small water feature. Should look really cool when we're done. Enjoy. So yeah, this is where the table really starts to come to life. This is where we actually get a nice little water feature. Nice little drain, some gross stuff in there. It's going to look real sick. Alright, so the most important thing to do here is to steal a Macca straw, probably from your kids. Rule number 1, steal it, don't use it. It's actually exactly where I got this straw. I probably made the mistake of not waiting till the kid had finished drinking first. So once we've stolen our little Macca straw, we've got to chop it up into smaller pieces, try and make them uneven length, because if they look too even, they look a bit weird. Essentially, we're just going for the look of a bunch of pipes that have just kind of converged into a system where they just dump all the gross water. So we're just going to glue them on. I just use a bit of cheap super glue. Usually get these in a pack of 6 or 8, I can't remember. Cost me $2. Boom. Righto, we want to get an empty bucket and a bunch of ripped up tissue paper, paper towels, toilet paper if they haven't taken it all from the stores, and a bit of plaster. We want to go about 50-50 plaster and ripped paper. Then some demineralized water or distilled water, whatever you get your hands on. And what we're going to do now is just build it up around the edges and around those pipes. So just going to be kind of like our hill shapes, etc, etc. This is the messy part of this build, and it's probably a smart idea to maybe put down a paper towel or a sheet or something underneath your bucket, or else you'll absolutely make a disaster, just like I've done. So I've spilt it everywhere and flicked it on stuff. It's probably not the best way of doing things. My ripped up tissue paper and plaster is kind of like a poor man's modelling compound. It's very cheap, very easy to do. Doesn't quite look as good, doesn't hold as well as modelling compound, but it does its job. And that's the main thing. And if you're a complete idiot like me, you can try and clean off the stuff with more tissue paper. Better off getting an actual damn cloth or an old rag. It'll work so much better. So what we're doing now is we're just smoothing it out. Once the plaster starts to go off and gets a bit harder, we'll get it all in place and make it nice and smooth and really awesome looking. We want to try and get everything to flow between each other. Makes it just overall look better once we do our ground covering. As it gets stiffer, you can make it smoother and smoother. If you need to, you can dampen your finger. It makes it just go a bit smoother. Righto, so we want to paint the plaster once it dries with a dark grey to go with the rest of the table. It's just to give it a bit of a concrete jungle look. I've actually scratched a bit of the table in some places, so I'll go over it a little bit here with some of the grey too, and then I'll slip a bit of ground cover on that later, just to fix up my boo-boos, I guess. Just want to try and get it all even looking and no white spots poking through. Then we're good as gold, mate. Good as gold. Righto, once our paint dries, we're going to give it a hit with some Mod Podge, and then we're going to do our ground coverings on top of that. You could use PVA for this step if you really wanted to. I just like to have a mat underneath the ground covering. It doesn't make too big a deal, but I'm just weird and silly. We want to try not to get it over the drains too much. We still want to have a bit of the grey poking out, so it actually looks like a drain and not like water coming out of sand. That looks weird if that happens. So keep that in mind. So this is the standard tile grout and sand mixture. I used a colour called Havana this time for the actual tile grout. It's a bit more of a browner colour. So once we've done this, I just put a little bit of grey over the top of that, and so yeah, there's a bit of the grey there now. It's just sort of blended in with the table a bit more, so it kind of looks a bit more like broken concrete mixed in with a bit of dirt. And then I go over it with the dry brush, no liquid on that at all. That's to sort of help merge it all in. So before I give it a coating of Mod Podge, I give it a little hit with isopropanol to helps the bottom layer of Mod Podge soak up, and the liquidy Mod Podge I put on top to soak down, so it becomes rock hard. So I left that to set overnight. I came back the next day and I thought it looked a little bit too brown still. So I put a bit more grey over the top and basically repeated from what I did before. And I was a bit more happy with it after that. Been thinking up lots of different ideas for terrain that can actually go with this table that will really go well with this section here. Whether or not they turn out how I want is a whole different story, but there might be some videos for the future for us to look at. As you can see, I'm having a bit of struggle with the nozzle on this sprayer. It's kind of clogged. It's probably the most painful thing about doing this with the spray bottle is the glue getting stuck in it. So this was the next day again, and I was much happier with the way it looked. So we've got this green shade, and it's going to basically be the slime at the bottom of the drain system. In order for this effect to turn out correctly, you only really want to go for the lowest part of the actual kind of like drain part. If you go too high, it kind of looks weird and uneven. It's kind of like resembling all the sludge and the gooey and all the stuff that's growing at the bottom of the riverbed. So that's good. I did have a brown I was going to try, but then I decided not to. So this is artist resin. It makes a good water effect. It's a 2-part pack. This one is a 50-50 mix. So I actually stuffed up, but it worked out good because I put a little bit too much in my second one. Now they're both the right levels. Tip them in together. Some people say to tip it from one cup and then back into the other, but I don't bother. I'm a bit rough as guts though. So once we've got these together, we stir the crap out of it, and then we'll add a colour in just a sec. I've been playing around with these contrast paints with the liquid water effects. Because they've got a liquid pigment, or so I'm told, thought they might work a little bit better. So probably got a little bit too much colour in this, but it actually worked out really good. You can see on the actual board itself where we did the green before. Looks not too bad at all. So this was when I realised that I actually didn't quite have enough resin, and I was actually grateful that I mixed a bit too much. It was quite surprising. I actually didn't think it was going to need that much, but it must have filled more area than I expected, so that's what you get. Sometimes you get a lucky mistake. When I get back into my Imperial Knights and start working on them fully, I actually wouldn't mind doing an effect like this on their bases. Give them a real industrial look. So what I've started doing is scooping some from the end into this middle section to try and get it to spread out. What our goal is to try not to get the little meniscus, it's called, to pop up around the edges. We want it to sort of lie flat. So we want to get all the liquid in where we can, pushed up to the sides, and we kind of want to press it down a little bit as it hits the bank, just like that. That way it sort of looks flat. So I've got a barbecue lighter here, and what we're doing is we're just going to heat the top of the resin. It'll get all the bubbles out of it. Doesn't always work, but it gets a lot of them out, and it definitely makes a difference. I'd recommend it. It's a poor man's blowtorch, I guess. And yes, that is my way. That's the final finished effect. We've got some dirty, slimy water coming out of these pipes into the middle of the city. Once we get some buildings on top of this, it'll look great. It's where everyone's just stuck all the waste, the sewerage, the dirty stuff. It's fantastic. So yeah, that's it for this week. That's our finished product. I hope you guys love it. And we'll see you next week. Hey guys, thanks for watching the episode. Make sure you like and subscribe. And hit that bell notification so you get to see the next episode.